Caitlin Clark's secret 2026 contract negotiations are not just about a higher salary. They are the catalyst for a total financial civil war that could cancel the upcoming season before the first whistle even blows. While the general public is currently looking at the 2026 WNBA schedule that was just released on January 22nd, the superior reality, hidden behind non-disclosure agreements and stalled union meetings, is that there's currently no legal agreement for the players to actually take the court. Per the latest reports from Sports Illustrated and The Athletic in January 2026, the league is currently in a high-stakes stalemate with the Players Association that centers directly on what industry insiders are calling the Clark exception. The common belief is that the league is thriving because of record-breaking attendance, but the financial receipts from the injury-plagued 2025 season show a much more fragile reality. Today, we are answering the three critical questions that the league front office is desperate to keep quiet. First, what is the specific NBC loophole that allows Clark to out-earn the entire WNBA salary cap by herself? Second, why are expansion owners in Portland and Toronto currently panicking over a rosterless schedule? And finally, how did a simple quad strain in 2025 nearly bankrupt the league's primary media partners? We are looking at leaked CBA drafts, shoe revenue projections, and the official January 2026 network announcements that prove the WNBA is currently a house of cards built on a single player's health. The first major sign that the industry was reaching a breaking point came not from a basketball court, but from a Nike boardroom in late 2025. According to the official announcement from Nike Basketball on August 25, 2025, Caitlin Clark was officially elevated to signature athlete status, a title held by only a handful of players in the world. While the logo reveal featuring interlocking C's was a win for marketing, the financial receipts attached to her 2026 shoe debut have created a massive rift between Clark and the rest of the league. Per industry auditors at StockX and Highsnobiety, the projected revenue for Clark's first signature shoe is expected to exceed $100 million in its first year alone. To put that in perspective, the entire WNBA media rights deal for 2024 was valued at only $60 million per year. According to leaked memos from the WNBPA meetings in December 2025, veteran players are pointing to this shoe deal as proof that the league's revenue-sharing model is fundamentally broken. The veterans argue that while Clark's shoe is a personal deal, its success is built on the back of a league they spent 30 years building. The payout of this tension is a proposed Clark tax in the new CBA, a luxury surcharge that would force high-earning individual stars to contribute a larger percentage of their off-court earnings back into a collective player pool. This has led to a standoff where Clark's legal team is essentially fighting the very union that is supposed to represent her, proving that when the money gets this big, the sisterhood of the league starts to crumble. However, the most shocking reality of this 2026 season is what insiders are calling the shadow equity deal with NBC. According to a report from the Shadow League on January 28, 2026, Caitlin Clark has officially joined the NBA on NBC as a special contributor. While this was framed as a simple broadcasting gig, the financial receipts tell a much different story. Per the leaked terms of the deal, Clark is reportedly receiving a compensation package that rivals some of the top-tier NBA analysts, all while she is still an active player in the WNBA. This is the receipt that has the rest of the league in an uproar. According to the 2026 CBA draft notes, the league is trying to close a loophole that allows players to sign consulting contracts with the very networks that broadcast their games. The WNBPA is alleging that this is essentially a backdoor salary designed to keep Clark happy without officially raising the league's hard salary cap, which remains stuck at roughly $1.5 million per team. Per the pros attribution in the January 2026 ESPN report, the league's refusal to raise the cap for everyone while allowing Clark to sign media deals worth millions has created a two-tier system. You have Caitlin Clark, who is effectively an NBA-level earner, and then you have the other 143 players who are still fighting for a living wage. This isn't just a drama about jealousy, it's a legal battle over whether the WNBA is still a competitive sports league or simply a marketing vehicle for a single star. As we look at the third major question, we have to revisit the ratings blackout of 2025. According to Nielsen data and a stunning report from Sports Illustrated in June 2025, the NBA's national television ratings dropped by a staggering 55% the moment Caitlin Clark went to the bench with a left quad strain. Per the financial audits released in January 2026, the league's media partners, including ION and ABC, nearly triggered make-good clauses in their contracts, which would have forced the WNBA to pay back millions in advertising revenue because the viewership wasn't meeting the guaranteed minimums. The reality exposed by this injury is that the NBA's current multi-billion-dollar valuation is entirely dependent on one person's ligaments. According to the Men's Journal report from mid-2025, Clark's absence was more impactful to her league's ratings than Tiger Woods was to golf or Michael Jordan was to the NBA. This has led to a medical gatekeeping controversy in 2026. Per leaked internal communications between the Indiana Fever and the league office, there is significant pressure on team doctors to expedite return-to-play timelines for marquee stars. The receipts from the 2025 season show that the Fever's attendance dropped from 17,000 fans per game to just under 4,000 when Clark was sidelined. This creates a terrifying incentive for the league to prioritize broadcast ratings over player safety, a move that the WNBA is currently using as a primary weapon in the CBA negotiations to demand better health benefits and longer off-seasons. As we look at the third major question, we have to revisit the ratings blackout of 2025. According to Nielsen data and a stunning report from Sports Illustrated in June 2025, the NBA's national television ratings dropped by a staggering 55% the moment Caitlin Clark went to the bench with a left quad strain. Per the financial audits released in January 2026, the league's media partners, including ION and ABC, nearly triggered make-good clauses in their contracts, which would have forced the WNBA to pay back millions in advertising revenue because the viewership wasn't meeting the guaranteed minimums. The reality exposed by this injury is that the NBA's current multi-billion-dollar valuation is entirely dependent on one person's ligaments. According to the Men's Journal report from mid-2025, Clark's absence was more impactful to her league's ratings than Tiger Woods was to golf or Michael Jordan was to the NBA. This has led to a medical gatekeeping controversy in 2026. Per leaked internal communications between the Indiana Fever and the league office, there is significant pressure on team doctors to expedite return-to-play timelines for marquee stars. The receipts from the 2025 season showed that the Fever's attendance dropped from 17,000 fans per game to just under 4,000 when Clark was sidelined. This creates a terrifying incentive for the league to prioritize broadcast ratings over player safety, a move that the WNBA is currently using as a primary weapon in the CBA negotiations to demand better health benefits and longer off-seasons. The situation has become even more volatile with the arrival of the Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempo. According to the expansion announcements from July 2025, these two teams were sold for record-breaking fees of $250 million each. However, as of January 31, 2026, neither team has a single player on its roster. Per the report from OPB on January 22nd, the league released a full 2026 schedule that includes these expansion teams, but because the CBA negotiations are stalled, the expansion draft has been delayed indefinitely. The receipts show that the new owners are currently paying millions in stadium leases and front office salaries for teams that don't actually exist just yet. This is the expansion bubble that is currently threatening to pop. According to industry analysts at CBS Sports, the expansion owners were sold on the Clark effect as a guaranteed return on investment. But if the CBA isn't signed by February 2026, the expansion draft will be canceled, and the 2026 season will have to proceed with only 13 teams, leaving the new owners in a legal nightmare. The payout here is that the league is now being sued by its own potential owners for misrepresentation of business stability. They were promised a thriving league, but they walked into a labor strike and a financial civil war. According to the latest social media data from January 2026, the Clark tax is also affecting the locker room chemistry in ways the public is only just starting to see. Per the High Post Hoops report, veteran players like Asia Wilson and Breanna Stewart have become increasingly vocal about the disparity of attention. While the receipts show that Clark is responsible for the majority of the league's new wealth, the veterans are the ones who have to play through the increasingly physical, hazing narratives that the media thrives on. According to the January 30th SBJ Morning Buzzcast, the league's refusal to address the veteran versus rookie pay gap has led to a private pact among several top stars to sit out the 2026 All-Star Game if a new revenue-sharing model isn't established. This is a relocation of power that the WNBA never anticipated. For 30 years, the league held all the cards because there was nowhere else for the women to play. But according to the Shadow League report from 3 days ago, Clark and several other top stars have already received multi-million-dollar offers from Project B, a rival international league looking to launch in 2027. The reality is that for the first time in history, the WNBA needs Caitlin Clark more than she needs them. The final reinforcement of this industry shift came during the 2025-2026 offseason when Clark turned down an offer to play in the unrivaled league. While most players jumped at the chance for extra income, Clark's decision was a calculated move to protect her brand's scarcity. According to marketing experts at The Athletic, every time Clark isn't on a screen, the price to put her on one goes up. This scarcity model is what is driving the NBA on NBC deal and the Nike signature shoe hype. However, it is also what is starving the WNBA of its much-needed consistency. Per the January 2026 financial summaries, the league is currently over-leveraged on Clark's future. If she decides to focus on her broadcasting career or her own signature brand, the WNBA's value could drop by as much as 40% overnight. The receipts show that the league's 2026 30th anniversary season was supposed to be a victory lap, but instead it has become a desperate scramble to keep the Clark exception from burning the whole house down. In summary, the 2026 Caitlin Clark drama is the ultimate expectations versus reality breakdown. The expectation was that her arrival would lift all boats and create a new era of prosperity for every player in the WNBA. The reality is that it has created a deep financial divide, a stalled CBA, and a league that is currently being held hostage by its own success. We have seen the $100 million shoe projections, the 55% ratings crash, and the $250 million expansion fees that are currently hanging in the balance. Clark didn't just change the game on the court, she changed the entire economics of women's sports, and the WNBA is currently struggling to keep up with the monster it helped create. As we head into the final weeks of February, the hidden millions are the only thing that matters. If a deal isn't reached, the 2026 season will be remembered not for the records Clark broke, but for the financial system she exposed as a failure. As the WNBA enters this critical CBA endgame, the question isn't whether the league will survive, but who will truly own it when the dust settles. The Court Vision Rope Industry Secrets playlist is your essential next step to understanding how these media loopholes and expansion bubbles are actually built. From the secret terms of the NBC consulting contracts to the truth about why the expansion draft is being held hostage, we are giving you the receipts that the broadcast networks won't show you. Make sure to watch the next video in the series to see how the Clark tax is affecting free agency and which veteran stars are already planning their exit from the league. The game is no longer just about the score, it's about the equity. And if you want to understand the future of basketball, you need to look at the contracts, not just the highlights.